You were the Word at the beginning, one with God the Lord Most High. Your hidden glory in creation, now revealed in you, our Christ. What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is, the name of Jesus Christ our King. What a beautiful name it is, nothing compares to this. What a beautiful name it is, the name of Jesus. You saw us stumbling in the darkness, so Jesus, you brought your light down. My sin was great, your love was greater. What could separate us now? What a wonderful name it is. What a wonderful name it is, the name of Jesus Christ my King. What a wonderful name it is, nothing compares to this. What a wonderful name it is, the name of Jesus. What a wonderful name it is, the name of Jesus. Hold you, the veil tore before you. You silenced the boast of sin and grave. The heavens are roaring the praise of your glory, for you are raised to life again. You have no rival, you have no equal, now and forever, God, you reign. Yours is the kingdom, yours is the glory, grace is enough, more than I need. At your word I will believe. I wait for you, draw near again. Let your spirit make me new, and I will fall at your feet. I will fall at your feet, and I will worship you here. Your presence in me, Jesus, light the way. By the power of your word, I am restored, I am redeemed. By your spirit I am free, and I will fall at your feet. I will fall at your feet, and I will worship you here. 'Cause freely you gave it all for us, surrendered your life upon that cross. Great is your love, poured out for all. This is our God, lifted on high from death to life. Forever our God is glorified. Servant and King, rescued the world. This is our God. And I will fall at your feet. I will fall at your feet, and I will worship you here. In spirit and in truth, with all my heart, Lord, with all my mind and all my strength, everything I am, I worship you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. This afternoon we have Mandisa. Welcome, Mandisa.
Hi, Robin.
It is good to have her with us. Now we're going to chat with Mandy, just briefly, about her reflection about, being in London conference. Now, some of you may know what the Lambeth Conference is, and some of you might not know. Now, the Lambeth Conference, it's where all the bishops and the primates meet together, not to have fun, but to literally, have reflections about the affairs of the church and what is happening in our Anglican communion. And our very own Mandisa had the opportunity to go to the Lambeth Conference. Now, we want to find out, how did that go about? You having to jet off to the UK, to the Lambeth Conference, and kind of like represent us as young people in South Africa, in AXA, I remember when we were taking you to the airport, and, I was actually anxious for you. You were so super excited. You had 3 suitcases. I won't tell you what the other suitcase had. We'll speak about that a little bit later. And then I was excited for you, but at the same time I was anxious because in the UK at that time, there were fires, prior to your week going to Lambeth. And then there was the strike at the Heathrow airport. So just, take us through what happened? What made you to get there?
Wow, I don't know if it's a long or short story, but To my surprise, I knew about Lambeth. I knew that after 10 years, our primates and bishops meet to be intentional about where the, like, sort of a direction where the church is taking and discussions. I assumed reporting back of what was done before this particular Lambeth. And as we know, if you could count 10 years, this one happened after 12 years because there was COVID, so our bishops couldn't meet. So I was like, okay, yes, our bishops are going to be away. And remember, as the Diocese of Natal, we didn't have a bishop then, and so I knew that our bishop, because now we have a bishop, our bishop will be representing Natal, and that was all exciting. And that's just about it, because bishops are going, I'm not a bishop. So I received a phone call from Cape Town, from the Archbishop's office, and they are looking for my email address, and I just gave. I had no idea, I don't want to lie. And in the email it says, well, in a meeting we have just decided that we are nominating you to be one of the stewards. What is a steward? I mean, you know what stewardship is in church, but in the context of Lambeth, what did that mean for me? It meant absolutely nothing. And it was so late that I needed to contact the people that had planned this, remember, 3 years ago. And now I have to fortunately, I had a passport. Young people, please do get your passports. You never know who's going to call or email. So there's visa. So even though I did get an invitation from the Archbishop's office, it was still not guaranteed whether I will go or not until I do get that visa, and the people who decide for visa are not the church. So I had to rush and apply for visa, back and forth, emailing, and after that I was like, what is steward? What am I going to do?
What is steward?
So I was like, whatever it is, I'm going there full force, and I'm going there to represent, like you said, I'm going to represent the young people of my province. Yes, my province, because the email came from the province. So there were a lot of emails that I had missed. Remember, this web was planned for a certain year that didn't happen because of COVID. So here I'm thinking, what did I miss? What are the things that I needed to know before I filled in that form? But the Lambeth team had been very helpful. I filled in the forms, and then I knew that I was actually there to form part of what we would say the hospitality team of the Lambeth conference. So you get a lot of bishops coming in with their spouses.
Well, you know excited about that. Oh Lord.
I know.
I wanted to meet you.
You can imagine. So you just literally there as an assisting hand to not only your AXA bishops, because I'm from AXA or Central Africa or anywhere, but to all the bishops. And we had to undergo a lot of training before, and one of the most important ones that we attended was safeguarding, which is so huge in our communion. So it safe, like stewardship, I would say, it's just hospitality that you give to the people that are going to be hosted. And Lambeth Conference decided, why not get young people across the communion, because it was a communion gathering, and we had young people from about 20 different dioceses, which is quite exciting.
And it was probably a lot of fun, because young people bring the fun and and the seriousness of the bishops, of course, and having to safeguard, and I think that is, it speaks so much to us that learning how to safeguard our church as young people. So I'm glad you explained, So as you said, that young people get your passport ready, because you don't know. Now, another second question that I would like to know is, what unexpected challenges did you experience from the time you landed? Remember, there was a strike, the time you landed, and during the course of the conference.
Okay, first and foremost, I flew from South Africa straight from Durban to Dubai. So when you get to Dubai, it's like a whole city, because the airport is huge. So I needed to figure out what is the time zone. Another thing to do when you're traveling abroad, make sure your phone is on roaming. Yes, so I needed to figure out the time difference between me being in Dubai and the next time that I get to fly. So that also, you need to be on your toes all the time. Remember, people are not always going to be speaking English with you. So I depended a lot on the boards, and whenever I felt like, I'm being lost, always ask, anyone who's wearing a branded item, like whether it's a t-shirt or not, that's written the name of the airport. Because there's a lot of human trafficking that happens. So you don't want to be lost and then they realize this one is traveling alone. So I needed first to figure out when is my next flight. Fortunately, I was in roaming, so I realized that I only had like 2 to 3 hours.
And you had to wait.
Yes. And remember, when you leave your country, your cell phone will not be reachable. So the Wi-Fi props to airports because they have Wi-Fi. And so I traveled, got onto my flight, which is to Heathrow. Before that, I must say, I always checked what was happening.
Okay.
I mean, we're friends on WhatsApp, so you always knew. I dated myself. So I always knew that there's a problem.
And I was glad that I was getting, messages from you, because then I was like, okay, she's safe, and she is, she got where she needed to be. And now, another thing that I would like you to touch on with your luggage, was it on transit, or did you have to pick it up, or did you pick it up when you actually got to Heathrow?
No, I just, when checking in, I said, can they go straight to Heathrow?
Okay.
And with all the information that you could spend like 4 days trying to find it, I was like, oh my goodness. So I arrived in Heathrow, and in Terminal 3, where most people were arriving on. Heathrow is another story. Besides just the strike and the luggage, it is huge. It is huge. So when I got there, I spent about 40 minutes trying to find my luggage. And there were luggage, you don't know how long they've been there, but you do see, like, I think it's one of the most busiest airports I've been to for now. And you do see flights coming in and out, in and I was like, okay, I'm going to find my luggage. After 40 minutes, and I'm standing, I'm thinking, okay, my luggage is still not here. Then I do see, like, my luggage coming through. Excited, I run to get my luggage. My suitcase is broken. Oh no! What's the worst that could happen? So I mean, it's one of those things that happen when you travel. Sometimes you lose your luggage. Fortunately, I didn't lose mine, but it was broken. So what do you do in that instance? Well, you contact your traveling airline, and then you let them know.
Oh my goodness. And any other unexpected challenges, during the course of the conference while you were there, when it comes to language barrier? I know that, the medium is always English, but you will find that there are other people that need translators, Did you find that you had to translate, or did you actually find that you were comfortable, speaking with others and they were hearing you?
So what was good, and still is good about Lambeth Conference, because remember, it's a company that runs even when there's no Lambeth. They are so organized in the sense that even the people who were in charge of making sure there are stewards coming, they made sure that there were people, like young people coming from different parts of the world, who were able to speak the languages like Spanish, Portuguese, and all. So whenever you encountered a bishop who was unable to speak to you in English, like if I'm outside South Africa, I speak English, but in South Africa I speak about 7 languages. So you always get your fellow steward to come and assist.
Wow.
But in terms of the setup of the conference, there were people who were full-time translators, and each and every bishop, whether you do understand all the languages or not, they had gadgets which they had to use during sessions and seminars. And whenever somebody is addressing, somebody is obviously translating. So for that, I was like, oh wow, we need this wherever we are.
Thank you so much. Now, we saw that you were very busy because you kept us on the loop on Facebook, we're following and liking the pictures and everything. Now, what parts of the conference you wish you could actually bring back home?
Okay, so having to meet young people from different dioceses and provinces was all good. And then you get to find out that these young people are so intentional about working for the Lord in the Anglican Church, which is something sometimes we're not really, like out there to show that I do enjoy working for the Lord in the Anglican Church. First for me, it was like, oh, there are young people. And being in the context of AXA, I got to realize that it's not just one set of race that loves the Lord and wants to work for the Lord in the Anglican Church, but being exposed to young people from all walks of life, that gave me some hope to say, wow, the church actually has young people, and which is, you might really not be exposed to that much when you come to like certain contexts in Africa. And that's first. And secondly, you just the every detail had a what can I call it? Had a plan A, B, and C. If that doesn't work, if plan A doesn't work, we had people that had radios. If we needed something, you didn't have to leave your station. Somebody would say, "I need a car to come fetch this bishop so and so has lost their luggage. What do we do?" So even at arrival, the bishops had people. Also, I must mention, besides just the stewards, the volunteers from the cathedral, from Canterbury Cathedral, were so wonderful. We were working as a team. So if a bishop is delayed, we will be alert. So we had a WhatsApp group, and there are certain things that we needed to perform outside your duty. Like you spoke about language. Some bishops maybe might lose their headset. We just needed to go that extra mile. And I must say, readiness, one. Secondly, just giving yourself out there as a service to other people. I mean,
having that heart of service,
yes,
and you would like to take that back.
Yes, being available as young people to serve. Yes, that's one of the things I'm saying. Well, we've been doing it as AXA, and we just keep on doing more. And I think that if the church would now start to recognize and then open up other opportunities. I said to myself, imagine having young people to steward at a synod of bishops or at a standing committee. Like how wonderful an experience it would be.
You're just giving me an idea, because we're having Anglicans Ablaze 2023 next year, you know?
Yes.
Okay. So how you talked about the young people that you met, a lot of young people from different dioceses in different countries. Now, how was the networking, you know, with the young people? And how was the spirit, you know, with the young people?
So I got to find out that a lot of young people, even though some of them, it was the first time they went to outside their countries, first and foremost, there was a lot of youth ministry programs that we could use in our own spaces. There's a community of St. Anselm's, which is called COSA, and I was like, wow, where you get like young people who stay for about 10 years praying with the Archbishop of Canterbury, and just, you know, like being in a space where you find yourself and committing to your faith and stuff. So those are the things I didn't know about. It's like we have a lot of young people who would die to be in a space where they get to experience church outside their own churches, outside their own province, and be in this
outside their context,
yes,
you know,
just to broaden your understanding. And most of them, like, they are into ministry, which is like what I said when I started. Most young people are into ministry. They have committed themselves. They are youth workers. So the networking was like, okay, we've got youth workers like myself. We've got young clergy like myself. We've got young clergy. We've got those that have been in the community. But these are just open to anyone in the community, and didn't know about us. Like, we need this. We need these kind of things, even if it doesn't happen across 10 months, like how it happens if you go and stay and pray and be in that community. But we could be doing something in our own dioceses. It could be 3 months. It could be 2 weeks, whatever we do. But there are opportunities that we could take from there. And having networked and understood what other people are doing, there are camps. Youth have camps, and fortunately for them, they've got enough funds to fund for these kind of things, and we don't have funds, but we still make it happen. We still make it work. So there was a lot that I was saying, oh my goodness, I wish money didn't have to be a problem for us to do these wonderful things, because our young people in Africa and in us are doing wonderful things, and they always have to pay and pay and pay.
You know, when you touched on, you know, having to be exposed out of your context, when we went to Zambia for our mission trip, it's one of the things that I picked up, that how Zambia, the Diocese of Zambia, the Diocese of Lusaka, actually, you know, grows their clergy, because they get to send them outside of Lusaka and Zambia, send them to the UK to go and learn, to be exposed to different kinds of environments. And I think that, we don't get to have that. It's something that I yearned when I came back, and I said, but why is it that we don't have that?
Yeah.
Because the emphasis is always about the money, but we can always, find the money somewhere, Okay. We can always find the money, trust me,
Yeah.
Because if you have young people that are passionate about the Lord, and you want to groom them and you want to grow them for the future church, for the church that is God wants, because as young people are the remnant, of the church of God. And so we need to be finding the money to be able to help them, to be exposed to different cultures, to different contexts and all of that. Oh my goodness.
Like you say, Willie, if I may chip in, I think almost all our dioceses in Accra have got linked dioceses. Imagine an opportunity where we would send 1 or 2 young people that are practically active in youth ministry. We don't want to tick a box and say, okay, we had somebody from St. Paul's, I worship at St. Paul's, and I always speak about St. Paul's. We don't want to tick a box and say we had Mandisa from St. Paul's. If Mandisa is active and also intentional about youth leadership, imagine if our linked dioceses were going to be like part of the program that we do. We have our young people go learn different styles of worship, go learn different styles of leadership, and then, that exchange kind of program. That would be so awesome, because we already have links, and they are not based like here in the neighboring dioceses. They are based all over the world. So we should really be exploring that.
Well, I think you also touched about the diversity in culture and traditions. Do you think it was something that was reflected in the Lambeth Conference?
Yes, from worship, really, from the worship team, oh bless them, how they expressed and helped us to express ourselves in song, in fellowship, in worship. They actually accommodated. I didn't know I could sing Shona, but I could sing Shona. I didn't know I could sing in a language that is sung in Barbados, but they had these slides, and we all just, we got to realize how the Holy Spirit works. Because, when you're singing, which is something beautiful about Anglicans, the Anglican Church. So when you're singing a hymn, even if it's in another language, you know what that hymn says.
Yes, you do.
So if you're singing Abide with me and you're singing it in Japanese, you do know what it means, but you still don't want to sing Abide with me. You want to sing in that language. So the diversity in language, the diversity in styles of worship, the diversity in expressions of worship, for me, it was like, okay, Anglican the place, magnified, because everything and everyone. So that was there. We sort of got to experience, and there were also other things that were happening in the afternoon. So where we got to experience different choirs, different orchestras, and coming in to say, this is worship also. We worship God. This is how what you can add in your context as a church. So it was just beautiful throughout.
Wow.
Yes, I can sing other
Now, they also had plenary sessions, so what is your overall takeaway, from the theme that was given, God's church, in the world? And what's your overall takeaway? We saw you having interviews because you're passionate also about the environment, which is in September. We know it's a clinical thing that we actually celebrate, creation, and honor creation. So what was your takeaway in the overall of the conference?
So, as a young person, like I said, I knew about Lambeth, but I didn't know that young people could participate. That's one of the things that when being there, you get to see and experience. So the plenary sessions, young people who were also stewards were invited to share their stories. Where will you ever get that? I didn't know. I had no idea. Now you're addressing the bishop's spouses and bishops, and you're talking about your context. So I shared in a session that speaks about the fifth mark of mission, and touched on the experience of the floods in Natal. And basically just to say this is our mission as the church. So other young people were part of the plenary sessions on discipleship, on youth ministry. They were part of reconciliation, all like different kinds of sessions, and it was so pleasing to see that what we thought was just bishops sitting and talking we are bringing it home because, like you said, young people are leading now, and the church has to move in a direction where we're walking together so that tomorrow we can just continue with the journey. So those sessions for me, like the environmental session, the gender safeguarding, I said, which is like something huge, reconciliation. Those were sessions that we got to speak in as young people. Like I was thinking, oh my goodness, what am I going to say? But it was so friendly in a way, youth friendly in a way that we were just able to.
And there was no that intimidation that, oh my God, I'm standing in front of primates and bishops.
Not at all. So I mean, it was very wonderful. I know nothing about the previous Lambeth, but this one for me, the people who participated, those are young people like stewards who participated. We got to have our meetings and conversations as the Anglican Youth Network, and at that time we were planning for the launch, and we're saying, this is wonderful that we are here. We're having our own conversations, but we came here for Lambeth, but we're not deviating from what the Lambeth is saying, but we're saying, young people, tomorrow you would be sitting in Lambeth, not as stewards, but as bishops and primates. Yeah.
Oh my God. I really sense it in your spirit that you had a wonderful time. Now let's kind of like have a break on, the Lambeth conference and come to you. How was the overall experience? Were you able to, have some sightseeing? And what were the aha moments for you in your personal venture of, going around London?
So, yes, we did a lot of adventure as a team, which is quite wonderful. You're meeting different young people from different walks of life, but we just became one family. We were so united that, as I told you about the WhatsApp group, which is still continuing, and happy birthday, Ruel. So we were just guys, we want to go to the cathedral, and which is the most historic place. So we would walk to the cathedral, and remember we arrived 2 days before the conference, actually no, a weekend before the conference started. So for us, it was a matter of trying to be trained and then grabbing whatever's being said, but also sightseeing. We went to see the beach, we went to restaurants, we got to enjoy being youthful at the same time while we were preparing ourselves for the incoming of all these delegates. But also in a way we did walks, we did we would chill out. The sun in UK, it sets around 9-10 p.m. So you have this whole day to work and do your stewarding, and after that it's not dark, so you can't really sleep. So we got to fellowship with our fellow stewards. So we got to reflect also what did we do right, what didn't go so well, what can we improve, and then we're planning for the next day. So it was just quite awesome that we were able to just see different places in Canterbury and also in London, and so for us as young people, it was this was just stewarding also in London. Okay, so
and you brought your camera, right? Mandisa is a photographer. Okay.
So a lot of that. So it's actually wonderful when you make friends that you didn't know you would make, but also make the most time responsibly. Yes, we had responsible fun. I don't want to lie. Not a single one of us would say, I wish I wasn't there, because we always make sure we check on each other. Do you need anything in time if you're not going? So there was a lot of responsibilities which we knew we were part of, and we didn't want to disrespect, and also we didn't want to what can I say? We didn't want to look like people who went there just to have fun. We did our duties, and after our duties, then we would go and chill out and have fun. We celebrated a lot of birthdays. Cakes were bought, people were celebrated away from their loved ones.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for sharing with us, Mandy. Now the last thing, of course, I know that you brought, 3 suitcases. Before we come to that one. Okay. Now, were you able to teach them any African languages, especially from South Africa, because we have 11 official languages here?
Yes, we did, which is quite exciting. We have this 45 young people. They all have different gifts. So on our first day, we were seated like in a square, and each person needed to share what they love and what they can share with your fellow stewards. Most were musicians, photographers, IT and all of that. And well, for me, I was like, okay, I'm a photographer and I'm also a chorister. So we would sing, like they brought us a piano, they brought us like, musical items. And also, so we were like, okay, having all of this fun. And
did you teach them way?
Yeah, so in the midst of sitting and chilling this one session, so Archbishop Justin was asked Archbishop Tabo to pray in the circles. So in our sessions with young people in our stewards room, so they were like, okay, what did Archbishop say? He didn't say Kosa, he said like Kosa. So I was like, no, he said Kosa. Everybody in the room was like, what? Please say that again. So I kept on saying Kosa, so that's how they got to learn. I made like 5 videos. And I remember I said there were birthdays that we shared. So in one of the birthday sessions, we had 3 people born on the same day. So so one of the head steward was like, anyone who's going to have a slice of cake needs to say, what do you say, Mandisa? I said, Kosa. I did teach them a bit. We spoke about a lot of serious things, like what do you do, like when somebody dies in your context, in your culture, and then, it was quite interesting.
Wow, it was quite interesting indeed, because you got to learn each other's culture, each other's, values and disciplines and all those things, because that's what makes them as young people, where they come from and who they are.
People
Yes, so thank you so much for that. Now the last one is that, you brought in 3 suitcases, and the other one was filled with some goodies, and I got to see this. This is the reason why I'm asking you, because I want to know the story behind you bringing a suitcase full of chips in London. Like, what were you thinking?
Okay, so the story with the chips and the suitcase. So what I do, if I'm traveling somewhere, I always touch base with people that are in that particular country or city. Even if I'm here in South Africa, I'm going to be around. Let's hook up, let's go to church together. It depends what we are there for and how long. So I hooked up with a former schoolmate of mine, a friend from Flagstaff, where I come from in Greece. So I told her, this is going back to 2008 when I went to the conference, the Justice Conference. I also told her that I'm coming. So she said to me, oh my goodness, you just flying now, please buy me cheese necks, and also buy me the white lunch bar. So this time around, I thought she would want something different. I told her I'm going to be in England for so long. And she's like, okay, yes. Oh, the previous year in 2018, she wanted also beads because they were going to celebrate Africa Day, theme, wedding, or whatever. So this time she's like, okay, please buy me 20 packs of cheese necks and 20 logs of white lunch. I was like, are you for real? She said, yes, I need that because I miss the like how nice our snacks are. I didn't quite understand because like, are you sure? She said yes. So I went around shopping for the chocolates and the chips, and I found them, and they filled the whole suitcase. Like, where are my clothes going to? So yes, but I want to say props, which I appreciate our food in South Africa, is that I got to eat snacks from England, and I got to understand why she likes her cheese snacks and your lunch bar, because I somehow felt like, oh, that's the reason why, because I did taste. I know our South African snacks, which I enjoy, but then when I tasted, I was like, oh, okay, I understand. So I went all the way with a suitcase full of snacks. And, it was like,
it's a youthful one, that's what I'm telling you. I love that one. You see, now I think that, Cape Town, called the right person. You are a stewardess. Because, listen, nobody would travel with a suitcase full of chisnecks because of a friend.
And I only got
Big
TV
ups,
one.
Mandy.
I only got TV one out, which was for, she said 20, and then I counted. When she came to me, I was like, 1, 2, up to 20. And when she was having her chips the other time, she took her photos like, guess what I'm having? Yeah, so.
Oh, thank you so much, Mandy, for joining us. So
Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys for allowing us to just be in your spaces right now. So yeah, we will see you next week. Thank you so much, Mandy, for joining us, and God bless you. This was a wonderful experience. And another thing, sorry, young people, please, please go for that passport, because you never know when you're going to receive a phone call. Okay.
Thank you so much for having me, Reverend Willie. And also, thank you, Archbishop, and the team that made sure that I went all the way. Thank you to Thank you to the stewards from across the communion, Erin also, and Steve, who were hands-on in making sure we get there. The Lambeth conference team, everybody for hosting us, and the bishops and the archbishops for being patient with us. Sometimes we had to give them that.
You came back anointed, girl, right?
Yes.
You came back double anointed. You just got
sometimes we had to say, don't go now, stop, and they were respectfully did that. Sometimes we're like, no, we're still not open. They never argued. So big ups to us, to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.